Hey, what's up, guys? It's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're gonna be doing a Vehicroid deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck is an amazing deck that can summon out some incredible fusion monsters and get them absolutely massive with some of the tech cards that I'm playing in this deck. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like in your name description of a single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month as your patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 of the newest Vehicroid monster, Dragonroid, which is a really awesome 3-of in the deck that has a really good effect because it's actually a searcher that has the ability that once per turn, if this card is in the graveyard, you can make this card become a dragon while it's in the graveyard until the end of the turn. And you can also discard this card to activate one of the following effects. You get to either add 1 non-wind Roid monster from your deck to your hand, or this turn the activation of your cards and effects that include an effect that fusion summons a fusion monster cannot be negated. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is fusion summoned this way, which is a really awesome effect to basically give you that added protection, but also be a searcher for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Mixeroid. Mixeroid is one of the best cards in the entire deck, with the ability that you can tribute a machine monster to special summon a non-wind Roid monster from your deck. And you can pay half your life points and banish any number of machine monsters from your graveyard, including this card, to special summon from your extra deck 1 Roid fusion monster with the same level as the number of those banished monsters, ignoring its summoning condition, but destroy it during the end phase. And you only use each effect of this card once per turn. This card is a really good 3-of for the deck because it's also a machine dupe target because it has 0 attack points. We then play 3 copies of Expressroid. Expressroid is a good 3-of in the deck as well, and one of the best cards in the deck that when this card is summoned, you can target 2 Roid monsters in your graveyard, except another copy of this card, and add it to your hand, which is really, really good. We then play a single copy of Steamroid. Steamroid is a good 1-of because we can actually summon out with fusion deployment, and it also has the ability that if this card attacks, it gains 500 attack points, but if it is attacked, it loses 500 attack points. But being able to normal summon this card out to your field and attack for 2300 is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Drilloid. Drilloid is a really good 1-of that if this card attacks a defense fusion monster, it destroys that monster without applying damage calculation, which is actually a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Submarine Roid. Submarine Roid is a really neat card because this card has the ability can attack your opponent directly, but it only does 800 points of damage regardless of its attack points because it inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of this card. And then it changes itself to defense position, which can actually help out a lot during time. We then play a single copy of Armoroid. Armoroid is a good 1-of because when this card is tribute summoned, by tributing at least 1 Roid monster, you banish all spells and traps on the field, which can come in very, very handy, especially to OTK the opponent. We then play 2 copies of Gold Gadget. Gold Gadget is really good to help us make rank 4s in the deck, and it has the ability that when it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a level 4 machine monster from your hand, and if this card is destroyed battle or by card effect, you can special summon out a level 4 gadget monster from your deck, except another copy of this card. And you can only use 1 effect of this card per turn, and only once that turn. We then play 2 copies of Silver Gadget as well. Silver Gadget has the exact same effect as Gold Gadget, which is really cool because it helps out a lot to make rank 4s. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is a really good 1-of in the deck to help us get to our field spell, which is just an absolutely incredible card. We then play a single copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is really good in the deck because you can make rank 4s so easily to make Utopia double, detach a material from it, add this card from your deck to your hand, and summon a Utopia on top of it at 5,000 attack points. Then if your opponent has a monster that has 2,000 attack points on the field or less, you can just attack into that monster, detach a material, drop Double or Nothing. The Utopia goes to 10,000 attack points, and then you OTK the opponent, which is really awesome. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion and 3 copies of Ready Fusion. This is really, really good in the deck because you have the effect of your Super Vehicroid mobile base that it requires a Fusion Roid monster to summon this card. So you can use your copies of Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion to basically instantly get a monster on your field that's a fusion monster to then use as a material for mobile base. We then play 3 copies of Power Bond. Power Bond is a really good 3-of that has the ability you can fusion summon using this card by using materials from your hand or field as fusion material, and if you do, it gains attack equal to its original attack, so you basically double the attack points of the monster, but at the end phase, you take damage equal to the amount of attack points that monster gained off this card's effect, which usually isn't that big of a deal for this card because you're usually going to summon out Vehicroid with this card, so you're only going to take about 1600 points of damage. We then play 3 copies of Vehicroid Connection Zone. Connection Zone is a good fusion spell as well because it lets us fusion summon a Vehicroid fusion monster from our extra deck using monsters from our hand or field as fusion material, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by card effects and its effects cannot be negated, which is a really good effect because it makes our cards basically where they can't be used with effect veilers and stuff like that against it. We then play 3 copies of Megaroid City. This card is a great field spell because it has the ability that you can target one other card you control and destroy it, and if you do, you get to add a Roid card from your deck to your hand. And then during damage calculation, if your Roid monster battles, you can send a Roid monster from your deck to the graveyard and switch the original attack and defense of your battling monster during damage calculation only, which the card you're usually going to use this with is your mobile base to make it 5,000 attack points, which is just really insane. And you can only use effect this card once per turn, and you can't special summon monsters from your extra deck except fusion monsters the turn you activate either effect of this card, which is not even that big of a deal because usually we're summoning out mobile base and OTKing, or summoning out Utopia double and OTKing. We then play 3 copies of Machine Dupe, which we have plenty of targets in the deck between our Expressroid and Mixeroid to use this card to make rank 4s or to be able to use them to get on the field so we can use them as fusion materials. We then play 3 copies of Fusion Deployment. Fusion Deployment is really good because we reveal a bunch of different fusion monsters that are in the extra deck to be able to special summon a material from our deck to our side of the field, which is super helpful. We then play 3 copies of Limiter Removal. Limiter Removal is a great card in this deck because it doubles the attack of all machine monsters on the field, but you destroy them during the end phase, which usually when you activate this card, you're going into OTK. So this card is a definite 3-of in my build. So that's it for the spells, guys, and the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Super Vehicroid Mobile Base. This card is a really good 2-of because it's a really powerful card that has the ability that takes a Roid fusion monster plus any other Roid monster to fusion summon this card, and it has the ability that you can target a face-up monster that your opponent controls, special summon a Roid monster from your deck or extra deck with attack less than or equal to that monster, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. And then once per turn during the end phase, you can target a Roid monster in your main monster zone other than this card and return that monster you control to the hand, and if you do, make this card you control, or it has the ability, if you do, move this card you control to that monster's main monster zone, which is pretty good because you basically just move this card around into different columns, which is kind of neat. We then play 2 copies of Parapsychroid. Parapsychroid is really good because it can attack your opponent directly, and it's super easy to make because it just takes 2 machine monsters with the same name, which is just really easy to summon, and it's also an instant fusion target. But this card is really good to make with Power Bond because you can attack your opponent directly, and it's hilarious to be able to OTK your opponent with a bike. We then play 2 copies of Steam Gyroid. Steam Gyroid is a good 2-of because you can use it with Ready Fusion just to be able to summon it to your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Super Vehicroid Jumbo Drill. Jumbo Drill is kind of hard to summon in the deck, but you're basically playing this card because you're using it with Fusion Deployment to be able to reveal it and use it for its materials, but it does piercing damage, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Super Vehicroid Stealth Union. You're never summoning this card out to the field, but you're using it to reveal for your copy of Fusion Deployment because you can reveal it to summon out a copy of Expressroid or Drilloid to the field, but we don't play Truckroid or Stealthroid in the deck, so you can't summon this card. We then play a single copy of Barbaroid. Barbaroid is a little bit tough to summon, but when you do summon it, it's absolutely insane. It takes 5 Roid machine monsters to summon this card. It can attack twice during each battle phase, and this card cannot attack your opponent directly, and after this card battles, or after damage calculation, if this card attacked an opponent's monster, you negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard, and if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you inflict another 1,000 points of damage to your opponent, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Utopia Double. Utopia Double is really good because you can make this card with any 2 level 4 monsters, detach your material from this, add double or nothing from deck to hand, and then put a Utopia on top of it that comes out at 5,000. Then you can attack with the Utopia into an opponent's monster, detach your material to negate the attack, and then drop double or nothing to go in for 10,000 attack points, which is really good. We then play a single copy of number 60 because it can double the attack of a monster or monster reborn a card back from the graveyard to the field, which is really good, or draw 2 and discard a card. 1 copy of Giganta X because we can detach your material from this card and add a level 4 lower machine monster from deck to hand. 1 copy of Double A Zeus to board wipe, and finally a copy of Cleafort Genius, which could be Platinum Gadget, but I really like the Cleafort Genius for its last effect, that when 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones this card points to, you can add a level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. So if you go in for a machine dupe play and you summon 2 monsters to zone this card points to, you can add Armoroid or Dragonroid from deck to hand, which is really, really good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to be able to play. If you guys have never played with Vehicroid, I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive of a deck either, which is really nice, but it's super fun to OTK the opponent because this deck is just really fun to play, especially now that we have Dragonroid, which is just a really good card. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.